Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Bobcats Coaches Show here live from Crossroads Social House in Wytheville. Good crowd here tonight to see as our equipment manager Ryan Van Dyke called them, the Czech Mafia. I don't think that's any indictment anyway on anybody, but that's Milan Breczko. He's this week's player guest. His official point total to the off-ice officials in Winston-Salem and Florence is 7. You are missing 2 assists. Just saying. Wink, wink, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Anyways, that's Milan and head coach Wojtek Zemlika. Milan just coming off his best point production weekend as a pro. So officially 7 points in 6 games for you, Milan. First of all, what's it like to be back? And, of course, not the ideal weekend result-wise, but, you know, for you personally, a really good weekend on the stat sheet.
Yeah, it's good to be back in Wytheville. It was a long summer. This weekend didn't go our way, but we took some points away, and we're going to bring it back this weekend. Yeah,
Zemi, you're right, or he's right, and, you know, there are some positives to take away from a weekend like that. Again, it's the score, the numbers, they are what they are. But when you and I were talking earlier today, it was one of those things where the focus now is how do you move forward from that?
Correct. I think it was good for us to experience something like this. We're coming off of sweeping, splitting, and get swept. So, we kind of experience all what can happen in the weekend, and we've been on both sides of it, and it is an uncomfortable situation to get swept like we did, but it also showed us what are the missing links, what was the part of the game what we just didn't execute. And at the end of the day, like we talked about it a lot yesterday and today, and we just didn't show up. All comes down to it. We didn't compete. We didn't do the little things. We didn't go there, to be part of those games. We show up, but we didn't show up to play. And if you don't compete and you don't do the little things, like for example, just winning races, winning puck battles, being in the lanes, communicating, supporting each other, it makes it difficult to even give yourself a chance in the game. And maybe because the first weekend the second weekend we had a good 2 weekends back to back, we just felt like, we don't have to put that first, second, third effort out there. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it just wasn't there. And maybe, like I said, maybe this is good for us moving forward.
Yeah, I think the general sports term, for a team that starts out hot and then maybe hits a little bit of snag is, okay, maybe they needed to be humbled. In a way, I think, you'd probably agree with this. Sometimes you do need that little kick in the pants to tell you, hey, maybe we're not as hot as we thought we were. We've got to go out and make sure that things are consistent.
Well, we definitely got humbled. That's for sure. And we're at a point where, we're free, and we're starting at a, square one, right? We're at 500, and now going forward, we have a teams playing against the teams in our division where those points count twice. This upcoming weekend in Sport Huron, for example, those points really gonna matter. Now, every point matter, obviously, but moving forward, a lot to take away from the last 3 weekends, and things been addressed. We know what can happen when we don't show up. We know what can happen when we show up, right? And it's really up to us as a team, and what we're gonna do with that. If we're ready to play and we're gonna show up and we're gonna compete, then I think the result's gonna be positive for us, right? If we don't, we've seen what can happen. So.
Yeah, and Milan, what Zemi was touching on a moment ago was that communication, making sure you guys have that first, second, third effort. Most, if not every one of the goals I think that was scored over the weekend was a product of simple effort. Your goal Saturday night was a rush goal. The power play goal Friday was you being in the right place at the right time to snap home that rebound. Phillip finding an open spot there, crashing down into the middle of the ice Saturday. Mercurio finishing a 2-on-1. So, the first period Saturday for you guys, I think, was definitely the response and the type of period that needed to be played. Now for you guys, it's just a matter of putting that one period together into 3 and 3 and 3 and go so on and so forth, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. A big wake-up call. And I think Saturday we woke up. It was a little better, but of course not the results that we wanted. But we were just missing legs, I think, for sure on Friday. First road trip for us. First real road trip, I think. We don't really count Carolina as being a big trip, but yeah. So hopefully we learned from this and we'll do better next time on the trip.
All right, Zemi, you want to answer that as well?
Okay, so the first period on Saturday, that was kind of like the standard we talk about, right? It was completely different team, different products show up on the ice than Friday, and it was more a matter of what I just said, was just competing, right? The guys were, their legs were moving, they were finishing the checks, they were being hard to play against, right? And that's what resulted in us being able to score the first goal. There still are mistakes, even hockey is a game of mistakes. There's still gonna be mistakes, but just to see that we're capable of, doing it, we put it there for 20 minutes. Again, it showed me as a coach of the team that, it's there and we can do that. Now, going in the second period, I don't think we had a flat start of the second period. We got one goal scored on. There's been a little breakdown, and then second goal. It was a good goal, and up to the refs. Up to me, it wasn't, but it is what it is. We still have to control what we can control, but it seems like it took a little bit, energy out of us, and then obviously within the next 7 minutes they've been able to put up some more goals, and then again going the third period it seems like we were back just like the first period playing our standard, but at that situation it seems like it was a little too late. So not putting a 60-minute effort, playing 2 periods out of, or not even just 2 periods, 2.5 periods out of the whole game, it just shows again that that's not good enough. You have to play full 60-minute games, and when you get down, you find a way to regroup and you continue battling through it. That's what's gonna again put us back where we were prior to this weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that second goal from PD, because believe me, at intermission I went back and I tried to watch the replay. I zoomed in. I tried to figure out which pixel was the puck. Did it actually cross the line? From my vantage point, it was 50-50. I couldn't tell one way or the other, but I think you're right. That did flip the momentum of the game a little bit, and it kind of took the wind out of your guys' sails, and then PD just kind of piled on and on. Now, after that fifth goal, you take the timeout, boom, boom, there's 2 goals in 13 seconds. Now, all of a sudden, you're back in the game, and from that point on, you guys played them pretty tight. So if there is a big positive to take away from that, I think it's that mental toughness that you always talk about, to be able to battle back from that, get back in the game, and make it competitive.
Brett, it's, no matter goal was a good goal or not, right? Control what you can control. It was a bad call, but we let off, right? And that's a problem, right? That's where we have to find a solution to that problem, where we let off and why we allowing situations like this to control us. At the end of the day, yes, the guys, and we have showed some mental toughness and resilience then, but we need to find a consistency in our game, right? Like I said, a 60-minute effort, if it's there and if you lose the game, it's easier to look at it than if you play 55 minutes out of the game or you don't just catch a start of the game. So again, it's a good learning moment for us, and especially against one of the top teams in the league, to see how quick the game can be flipped around if you don't play for a couple minutes for a split of the period. And now moving forward, knowing that every team in this league is a good team this season, we got to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but before we get into what's to come this weekend against Port Huron, Milan, I want to kind of get from the player perspective how you kind of look at things, how they went last weekend, and moving forward into this weekend. You know, how do you guys as players kind of manage throughout the course of the game, trying to make sure that you do remain consistent, keeping things simple, and playing the way that you guys know how to play?
Yeah, Coach talked about consistency this morning in our meeting, and we went over the game, and there's good things, bad things, but of course the bad things pile up, and then but for this weekend, after today's practice, actually, we're gonna do better in battles, in some puck battles, move our feet, and hit the net.
I mean, your nose is even a product of practice today.
Battle Tuesdays.
Battle Drill Tuesday. That's actually Zemi's favorite day of the week, I heard. Is it?
We didn't apply it until this Tuesday. From this moment on, we start focusing on battle day every Tuesday, and I think it's a very important part of the week for us. It's not just hard for the players, but it's also they get to compete and they get to work on the things when they're tired, when they're exhausted. At the same time, they will feel like, and they do feel like they accomplish something after that practice. It is a grind for them, but we are making a decision in the game when we're exhausted, when we're tired, after the long shift, at the end of the game, and if we are not able to do it well, then we're gonna fail. So for that reason, we applied that we're gonna do every Tuesday, Battle Tuesday, and the guys responded very well to it and embraced it. And I think yet again, watching that practice and communicating with the leaders after the practice, they all had positive things to say. And yet again, I believe if they are always under the pressure and their bodies are exhausted and their minds still have to work, that's what can move us forward and allow us to get better.
Yeah, Milan, those are the kind of things that, and if for those that don't know, battle drills are very much small, tight area type things. You have to make really quick decisions really fast because the game is shrunk down so tight. And for you guys, those are the kind of drills and the situations that really make a difference. Like Zemi said, late in games, late in shifts, when your legs are tired, when you've got a long battle along the corner that's on for a good 5, 10, maybe even 15 seconds, those drills on Tuesday, those pay off Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I believe they will. Most or all of us by the end of practice, we were exhausted, but Coach kept giving us more and more drills, so we were like, okay, let's go through this. This is going to make us better late in the third or even overtime. When you're tired, we're going to be used to it, and it's going to pay off.
All right, so before we get into this weekend, Milan, since this is technically your first appearance on the program, we need to get your hockey background. We are coming up on the Winter Olympics, by the way, and you did compete for your country before you came to us last year. Tell us about what it was like to be able to put on the Czech sweater at the World Collegiate Games.
It was awesome. I was so proud of that, wearing the Czech national jersey, having the lion on my chest. I've been in the States this is my year 10, so playing in that tournament in Italy, we played on an Olympic-sized rink. There was a lot of skating, but I felt like I had more time. Here in the States, you don't get that much with the smaller ice. But yeah, it was awesome. We won our division. We beat Canada. Unfortunately, we lost in the semis. But yeah, it was awesome. I wish I can put on that jersey once again.
Well, there's nothing like wearing, your country sweater. We heard guys talk about that throughout the Four Nations tournament last year, and I'm sure we'll hear that again in Italy in the Winter Olympics. So you have that badge of honor to carry forward. But of course, this is your 10th year in the States. You played NCAA hockey and then came to us last year. So take us through the process of exiting college and the conversations to come here, and then you made an immediate impact?
So I played my first 2 years of college, NCAA 83 for Riviere. After that, after my sophomore year, I transferred to Milan University, ACHA D1. And the transition to pro hockey, I have to say that the tournament in Italy helped me because it was a high level. Like the Team Canada had all U Sports guys that some of them even go to NHL camps or some of them were drafted. When we played against Ukraine, Kazakhstan, some of those guys were drafted to the NHL. So it was definitely a step above and made me feel a little better coming to the Bobcats in the spring and gave me some more confidence as well.
Yeah, Zemi, talk about what you saw from Milan. I'm sure he'd been on your radar for quite some time as far as somebody to use one of those end of season collegiate deals on. So talk about what you saw from him early on when you brought him in and the impact he made and how great an asset he's been since.
Absolutely. So coincidence in this situation is that Milan's head coach in Midland. He was the person who brought me to North America to play hockey. So I know Jan for a long time, and we stayed in touch. And he mentioned that he has Milan on the team, and that he's looking to, after his college career, he's wanting to go pro. So I spoke to him over, I believe, the whole last season, and I've been checking on him and with his coach, and he had a really good season. And after that season finished, Jan told me he's ready to come and he would like to make impact on our team. So, we like to bring college players at the end of the season and take a look, and either things work out, or if not, then we can bring them back the following season. But since Milan came in, he definitely made an impact. As he's a European, he doesn't play European style of the game. He plays a North American style of the game, and the guys who comes to the people who comes to watch the games, they can tell his tenacity and his skating ability. He plays hard-nosed hockey. He goes to the net. He gets in those gray areas. Loves to puck battle, and all those things were kind of something I felt like we were missing right prior to Milan arrival. And then his first shift for us, I believe he scored a goal last season. And it was, going hard to the net and then, burying the rebound. So it definitely paid off. He continuously made an impact on the team, and this season he's in a bigger role, right? This is his second season. He's still a rookie, but he understands there's a higher expectations, and, he wants to fulfill them for himself and for his own career, but also make a big impact on the team. And I think so far, from the first week and all the way through this last week, and he definitely has stepped up his game and he's getting better. But yet again, he is that good example of what we want and what we preach in the in the Bobcats hockey. That compete level is there every night and every practice.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the immediate impact part of it, because there's making an immediate impact and then there's scoring on your first professional shift 7 minutes into your pro career on the dot. Second shift, sorry. Still, it was 7 minutes into your pro career on the dot against the arch rival. And it kind of made everybody in the booth around the arena kind of turn their head and go, well, wait a minute. We might have something here. And for you, it wasn't one of those like blips on the radar kind of deal. You've kept it up since then.
Yeah, thank you. I've been trying my best. After we ended the season last year and went back to Nebraska, graduated, and then I went straight back to the gym and hit the ice all summer. It's just so I can come back and play and win.
Yeah, but Milan actually, I can't remember if you posted it or you sent me a video of you training in the summer and you hit like 6 of 6 targets in accuracy shooting. I was like, I might want to get out of the way if I'm ever near the ice during practice, because these things might be humming. But Zemi, last thing we'll touch on here, like we said, like you said with him and Nikita as well, Alexei Kulikov as well, what we saw out of him Saturday night in that game, the guys that have spent time here whether in juniors or in college, have gotten a sense of the North American game, and you can see that in their tenacity in the corners, being in the right places at the right time. For instance, the goals we've touched on with Milan, his first ever goal was a rebound right in between the hash marks. The goal Friday night was a rebound on the power play. You look at Alexei, pick it up and assist there Saturday. He wins a battle. He sends the puck ahead. He starts that whole play. So, it's such a huge advantage for you as a coach, I'm sure, as well, when you have these young guys that have that experience, not to have to kind of drill that into them, right?
I was very impressed with Skule. He's been waiting for that opportunity, since the day one of the camp. And from what I've seen in the practices, he carried all that in the games. He played a major junior hockey league, just like Reller, just like McHugh we had in the past. And that's the highest junior hockey you can possibly play in North America. So all that stuff we talk about, he had heard before, but to make that transition and being able to carry it in the pro hockey is not an easy thing, and not everybody's able to do it. But Lexi had a very good game, and he definitely showed that he deserves to be in the lineup. And watching a video today, he was one of the guys where I was pointing out consistently and saying, okay, this is what we talk about. This is how it's supposed to be done. And it's great for me as a coach to be able to have a guy playing a first game and applying exactly what we talk about. So, we know there's a room for him to get better, and more comfortable he's going to get, and more games he's going to play it in. He's going to be making bigger and bigger impact. But, definitely very impressed.
Yeah, in Milan, for you guys as players, I'm sure, you're happy for that guy to get that opportunity. And for him, I believe we went with 11 forwards that night, I believe, didn't we? It was 11-5, or was it 10-6?
Well, it depends if you count Carson as a D-man or forward.
Both.
No, he's a D-man.
He was a D-man, so we did go 10-6. But still, Alexei slides in the lineup, and for you guys, that's got to pop out to everybody that he's going right out there and he's doing exactly what needs to be done, and that in essence makes you guys better and makes you guys want to pick it up the pace, right?
Yeah, and we all saw that he's ready. He's a great player. He works hard in practice, pays attention, studies the game, and he's also a great guy. Like we love to hang out with him. Me and the Czechs and him and Benny hang out, and we try to learn each other's languages and stuff. But Cooley is a great guy, and we like to hang out with him.
Yeah, on the ride back Saturday night, Alexei and Nikita were actually speaking to each other, and I don't know if one was speaking a different language than the other, because of course Nikita's from Estonia, Alexei's from Russia, but they sounded like they were just having a full-on conversation. So I don't know if one was speaking one language and another was speaking another language, but we might need subtitles half the time.
It's the same language, Brett, but
Showing my blonde ignorance.
Going back to what you just said, with Lexi stepping in the game and being able to play the way he did, it showed the depth of the team, right? And it showed that if you have a guy from a first line out there or a guy who was the night before scratched, he can put the same effort. So again, to me as a coach, it allows to, and should force the guys to be able to compete every night in and out, because it really doesn't matter who you are at that point. It's what you do and what you show, right? And have those efforts I talk about. So having a depth was important. That's what we talk about when we were recruiting in the off season. But I hope that Lexi going the lineup will push some of the older guys, some of the leadership on the team to be use it as a wake-up call for all of us, right? We all have to play that way. That's what made us successful in the past couple of years. That's what last year got us in the playoff. That was the compete, that we play harder than anybody else. And that's what we have to get back to, and that's what we talk about prior to this weekend against Port Huron.
You want to talk about mental toughness? One more thing on Alexei. He gets high-sticked in the first period there Friday. Didn't miss a beat. Got right back up. Did his job, got back to the bench, and then went out there for his next shift.
Well, you got to work through it. We've been having a lot of conversation about not talking back to the referees and no matter the calls are right or wrong, I feel like it gets us away from the game to consistently be focused on the refereeing and so on us and our game and our plan, So, having Lexi to be able to take a high stake, and sometimes you have to eat a punch for the team. Sometimes you're gonna have to eat a cross check. Sometimes things gonna happen and you have to work through it. At the same time, if you're not consistently staying on the refs, they're gonna give you a break too, right? And that's another area of the games that we talk about and what we want to get better at.
Shout out to Robin Erickson, by the way, for being named as the Sonic of Florence Weenie of the game. I don't know. Somebody paid for it. They gave him the award. He's got himself on a wanted poster. He's got everything he could ever want in life now. He even commented and said he's putting it in his resume portfolio. So congratulations. You gave him a notch in the belt. But Milan, for you, Robin's one of those guys that, for you as a skill guy, he's one of those guys that when something happens, he's going to go out and stick up for you. And he did that in Carolina a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he did, and it feels good when you have somebody like Robin that has your back. But we all have each other's backs. Like Kooks does a good job at it too, and we're all one family, and we're gonna stick up for each other.
And that'll parlay us into this weekend, Zemi, against a team in Port Huron that you and I well know. They're well experienced, but they're also well versed in the metaphysical side of the game, so to speak, as to getting under their opponent's skin, something that they do very well. We look back at last year. You guys won that game Friday. Saturday, they target Sava. They go after him. They anger him, and he gets ejected, and they go on to win that game. So it's, they play a very skilled, very structured style, but they also have the experience where, they know when and where to pick their moments to kind of pick at the skin, right?
We played against Port Huron only 4 times over the last 2 years, and all the games were away games. So this is going to be first time they're coming in our barn. And I'm very excited to play against Port Huron because they're probably, if not the most, they're one of the most physical teams in the league, and they are doing a good job at getting on the players' skin. And I think after this past weekend, this is a good challenge for all of us as a team and for individuals on the team, to see what we're made of and what each and one of the players are made of. Because at the end of the day, that's, again, it is the identity we want to be playing, to be hard to play against, to be the most competitive team out there. And I think, yet again, going forward, this is a huge weekend for us, not just because of the points, but also because of our identity and obviously redeeming ourselves after this past weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake here this weekend, Milan, for you guys, of course. It is a divisional game, so these points count twice. This is Port Huron's first ever visit to us here at Hitachi Energy Arena, one of the longest tenured franchises in this league, and a place that you guys have visited previously. You haven't, but the team has visited previously. And as Zemi said, they're one of, if not the most physical team in the league. So you flip from playing a team that plays a very wide open, rush-oriented style to a team that is very much geared to wear you down in the corners and wear you down physically, but also wear you down mentally.
Oh yeah, Brett, that's why we have Battle Tuesdays, when we work on battling and mental toughness when we're tired at the end of practice, but we're still going, making each other better. I did not experience them last year, so I'm gonna look at film, and we'll be ready for this weekend.
Yeah, Zemi, there's quite a few guys that did make that early season trip last year, but again, as we said, Port Huron's one of the longest tenured franchises in this league. They have an interesting setup in terms of their coaching style, where the players are the coaches most of the time. If Chris Pollin's around, he's generally on the bench, but a lot of times it's got to be weird for you to look over and go, hey, there's not another guy in a suit over there. That's weird. But that's something that you have to get into the guys' heads too, is to not let little mental things affect them during the course of the game.
Yeah, their coaches have been played since I've played my rookie season. in the pro hockey, so they've been around for a little while. But it's the last team standing who still have a coaches as a players. They got an exception. No other teams are allowed to do it anymore. What I believe is for the league great to going in the right direction to be a professional hockey league. But they like I said, they're a good team. They been over the last couple of years, always successful to going in the playoff. But a big part of it is because they're hard to play against. They don't take any crap, and they will push you back, and they will get under the skin. They will give you that extra shovel and that extra slash, and a lot of teams get intimidated by their playing style. So for us, that's, like I said, that's something. The style of the game we want to play on top of our speed and on top of our skill, and it's going to be challenged, like I said, and we're accepting and we're excited for the challenge, and really will show what we're made of as a team. And I have no doubt that we can show it and we can be successful this weekend. But again, a matter of us showing up, and not just showing up, but showing up for 60 minutes.
Yeah, Milan, he touched on, might give you that extra whack, that extra cross check. There's going to be a lot of stuff after the whistles, and they're going to try and do what a lot of the more experienced teams do when they come into a quote unquote younger franchises arena, is trying to impose that will in terms of imposing their experience and trying to get you guys frustrated, trying to get you to retaliate, because 9 times out of 10, the penalty is going to go to the guy that retaliates. So for you guys, a key outside of the other stuff is to make sure that you're mentally tough, mentally strong, and you don't get drawn into those things.
Yeah, exactly. Just know that it's going to hurt, but it's going to feel better when we score on the power play.
It's going to feel better when you see 2 minutes on the other side of the scoreboard rather than your side of the scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Zemi, as we said, this is a lot's at stake this weekend. And as we said, you guys are looking to put a more, consistent game together this weekend. And I think objective one would be try and get on the board first, because, what's happened a lot, you guys have been able to come back in a lot of these games. But you look at the game in Winston-Salem, you guys scored first and really controlled the entirety of that game.
Well, yeah, you can't expect to come back every time in the game, right? Like, the game starts when they drop the puck, and you gotta be ready to play. And it is the goal to get first on the board, and it is the goal to set a tone in the first 5 minutes of the game. But sometimes it's unsuccessful. Sometimes it happens. Now, that's what we want, and that's what we're aiming for. But again, the whole goal is to play a complete game, and I believe if we play the right way and we play the complete game, then we're gonna get the results we want.
Yeah, Milan, you could sense, the momentum difference Saturday night when you were able to put the first one home there late in that first period Saturday. You're able to sense how that kind of shifts things when you're not the one that's chasing the game.
Yeah, for sure. It pumps you up even more when you get the lead first, and everybody feels that. The bench is electric after that, and then just got to stay consistent, play the right way consistently, and then good things will happen.
Yeah, he's right, Zemi, and the consistency probably is going to be one of your 3 keys to victory when we get to that point in the program here in a couple minutes. But it's a big weekend for you guys, as we said. There's a lot of things at stake, a lot of things to try and prove and take care of. But I think the most important thing this weekend is what you told the guys Saturday, which was, let's remember who we are, let's remember what our identity is, let's remember what Blue Ridge Bobcats hockey is, and let's go out and show it.
That's something we have talked about, I believe, last coach's show too. But again, I think it's more of like, it's a game we love, but it's also our job, and we got to do our job, right? So we got to bring that entertainment. What I'm meaning is the physicality, the compete level. At the same time, we have to execute the plan we set through the week. So, to me, it's, compete. And I'm, again, very big believer that when we do that, and we do that for the whole 60, then were very difficult to play against, and we have the talent to score those goals, and execute in the situations. But yet again, we have to be the team initiating that physicality, initiating the contact, initiating in all kinds of situations for the whole game. So I think the guys understood the message very well over the last couple of days, and I think they're ready to play. Now we still have a couple of days of preparation and talk about the structure and the plan, the complete plan. But the plan's not gonna work if we don't compete, right? So putting both of these things together, that's what's gonna matter.
Yeah, Milan, that's the focus for you guys. Throughout the rest of the week is putting everything together and putting that into a full 60-minute performance, right?
Yes.
Simple answer to the question. Anyways, so Zemi gets this question every week. You're gonna get it. Sorry. 3 keys to victory this weekend against the Port Huron Prowlers.
Win battles, skate fast, hit the net.
That's simple enough. I don't know how you follow that up, Zemi, but you have to. So
Compete.
is it a cop-out if you use the same 3? No, I said that was going to be the word. That is the word. Anyways, couple quick housekeeping things for this weekend. Friday, if you have a doctor, nurse, EMT, first responder, fire, teacher badge, anything that shows you are in the hometown hero category, show it at the box office. You get $5 off your ticket. Saturday, if you have a military ID, doesn't matter if you're currently serving, if you formerly served, you get in free. Period. End of discussion. If you have a military ID, you get in free. That is our thank you to everyone that has made or is currently making the sacrifice for us to all go out and do what we love every single weekend. So, again, if you have a hometown hero ID, doctor, nurse, yes, dental professionals, correctional officers do count because that counts as nurse practitioner or law enforcement. Be sure to show that at the box office. You get $5 off your ticket. Saturday, if you got a military ID and it's valid, you don't pay a dime. You are in free. So if you have military ID, if you have been to a game, if you've been to a couple games, if you've never been to a game, you literally get in free. You have no reason not to show up. I don't know what Virginia Tech's up to, probably losing, but get here. Be here. These guys need you. Let's make this place loud. You guys agree with this sentiment here? Okay, yeah. For Milan, Breczko, and Wojtek Zemlika, I'm Brett Wise, and we'll see you Friday night.